opportunity. I know he's here, so.
Need to get in the Z drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit that, yeah. Go to this PC, try that one.
Okay, it's not the way I did. On their take.
Well, no, I don't know if they'll do that.
Today worked for
I'm
him.
not sure. Not sure.
Said he was unable to attend today.
Okay. Is the guy coming?
She gonna,
Sure, read the package.
that's scary.
So is this under committees, finance?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all winged. Hey, something goes wrong, just blame it on me. It's all good.
Hereditary?
No, but I don't know what. Latest date on here, January.
Are you looking for like just the budgets or
Well, whatever we're going to be discussing today.
budgets?
It looks like
No.
Jeremy is, I don't know how to see
There
him.
wasn't a whole, I mean, we
Done?
couldn't really hand out a whole lot.
Yeah.
And you can go to the budgets, right? On the Z
Right,
drive?
you don't go to committee, you go
Wonder if
to
you can
budgets,
hear us.
Right.
2026.
So I put it on mute for right now, unless,
I wonder if you can unmute Jeremy.
Is he on there?
2026 budgets.
He can unmute himself, can't he?
No, not if he's muted from this end, I don't think.
Oh, I was doing 320 again. Oh,
requested as a presenter, I don't know.
I don't think so. Let me click off him, it wants to fucking leave.
Um,
Jeremy, I don't know if you can hear us or not, but we're trying to get it so we can hear you. Hopefully we don't accidentally boot you off.
But we got, we don't get kicked out.
It's been on time, board chair.
I
I'll
apologize.
cut Ashley some slack, but now you.
how do we get so Jeremy?
I was figuring out the last one.
I hate that they changed this so much. Did you click this one already?
When they do it.
Maybe it's 305.
What's that?
It's 305.
Yeah, well, I would have started, but we're trying to get it so Jeremy can, so we can hear him. And
Here.
we haven't been able to do that yet.
Is he not on?
Well, I don't, is this just because he doesn't?
Want me to try to message
Yes,
him?
he's
Oh.
up
It
here.
says request as a presenter.
You see how there's an
Yeah.
X right there?
Yeah,
I don't think he's on yet.
oh, okay. I just thought because his name was there that he was in.
Okay. I guess.
He's not there. By the looks of it.
I don't think he's on because there's a little X by his name. I don't think he's on yet.
All right, well, 3:05, we're gonna call it to order. First up, public comment, 3 minutes per person, agenda items only. Any public comment? Public comment? Anybody hiding behind the chairs back there? No public comment. All right, next, discuss possible motion 2026 county budget review and discuss departmental budget event. Requests, revenues, and expenditures for any county department, including adjustments, relocation, or other changes deemed necessary by the finance committee. Anybody got an update? Anybody want to take this flat football and run with it?
Yes, we do have an update. So I sent this out this morning. Tanya and Chris worked really hard to get all the updates incorporated after personnel committee when they met on Thursday, made some changes to health insurance offerings for 2026. So do you want to scroll a little bit to the bottom there so we can look at the gap?
That one's in our email? I didn't-
Yes, and it was from this morning.
All right, I gotta
We
find
just
that.
wrapped this up, yep. So we were able to get the gap down to 103,896. And at the very bottom, on the second page of Chris's notes, are some suggestions for the finance committee to close that gap.
Does it say eliminate one entire department?
Administration?
Somebody's gonna be listening, it's gonna turn it, I could see this there.
So also a note, I did go in and make the adjustment based on the resolution for the finance director. And that is not reflected in this, so it's actually probably below 100, the gap.
Okay. Yeah, good to know.
So we had talked about the 47,000, that's from the 2021, I think, bond issue that had previously been used towards highway. So we had a little conversation about that, but I don't know that it's okay to use towards highway. So that's where that 47 is coming from.
You said it's leftover bonds?
So it'd be,
What was the plan for the remainder otherwise?
it wasn't assigned. So it's just sitting out there, was left over from, I don't know if it was a,
Well, is it can we apply it to something that's eligible for? Take it under the terms of the bonding?
so I think that's why highway was brought up, because it was used previously.
For some reason, ever since they've done the updates on my computer, it takes like 5 minutes to start up.
Oh, really?
Count to 10, don't do what Jim did at the last personnel meeting. I'm here for you.
Oh, yeah. Like 5 of us asked IT to come down for Jim and he's like, never mind, I got it.
Jim was having a bad day, plus I had a cold. I was ready to take my computer and whip it against the wall, but I know I had to write the county out a check for probably $1,000.
So it was from a 2019. I don't know the original.
The leftover bond is from 19?
Yeah.
Really?
It must have maybe been something for, I don't know.
Hold it,
What it's for.
didn't this come up once before?
Yes, we had a discussion about it. So it must have been, I don't know,
Yeah.
just in general.
Was it for rut paving or chip sealing?
We
Um,
used some of it later on. It was unassigned, and then it was used in, I just didn't know where it originally came from. It was used in 22. It was used in 22 for rut paving, so that's where the thought of assigning that to highway.
We need to pick a specific spot to put it, like in road repairs or,
And I have to apologize because I don't have the
There it
knowledge
is.
to,
there's what's left to it right there.
yes, the 47,000.
Yes, PI reimbursement.
And the note just was that it was reimbursed to general fund. These funds are unassigned.
Shucks, I wish we'd known that was there. We could use that for the roof last year. Some of it anyhow. You know, when we did that roof, I don't remember where that came from. Like 1,000 though, but.
So that, again, is one of the suggestions to reduce the levy.
You hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, so you've got Jeremy on the speakerphone then.
Hello, Mr. Vincent.
Hey, guys.
So what do you think? How are we gonna balance this?
We're kind of counting on you to have it all figured out.
I was just gonna say, let's use the notes that are in the email from earlier today and go home.
Yeah. We haven't made it all the way through that yet. We're just kind of down. We're down looking at the section there at the bottom there to close the gap options. We're trying to figure out
Yeah.
what to do with that 47,000 bond fund and where we should go with that in highway or.
Ashley, could you email that to me so that when they make these changes, I can thank you?
And then the other suggestion would be to relook at forestry so that that there is typically a lot that comes back to general fund. So to increase that revenue by Chris's suggestion is the 65,000. We're going to potentially use that 47,000 and that should get us.
Did you talk to Jared about that by any chance? Just because, I mean,
I think he was pretty set not to raise anything.
yeah,
But it seems that if this is going back to general fund and you're looking at cutting something else out, the same thing that we talked about the last time we met in regards to
sales tax.
increasing our interest revenue, that if you're not looking at things realistic, like Chris said, the other side to that is then you're cutting things that are needed. One of the other suggestions from Chris was to just increase our use of general fund. So in essence, this would be the same thing. It's just that you're doing it more appropriately. Appropriately looking at stumpage revenue and not just saying, we need this, so let's put this in there. It's realistic. It's based on history and forecasting for the year. So that's what his note is about there.
Well, it says it's based on current trends, but I wonder if you know what's going on with the timber market as much, because we're not getting the bids like we used to on the contracts, and it seems like it's gonna steadily decline. Of course, I mean, if they do something up in Hayward there, we might help us in the future, but we've been kind of living off sales that had already been sold, 4 years before at higher amounts. So that'd just be my concern, is that if we don't make that much revenue. But he's only suggested 65,000, I suppose.
I remember right when I first got on this committee, we increased that. That revenue used to be really low.
I was in there.
I want to say it was around 600. And then we're up to probably, I'm thinking around million now, 900 million, I can't remember. And that was to help offset at that time. I guess my big concern here is I'm fine with all these suggestions. My big concern is we're at that point now where we're tightening everything up from a budget standpoint. So where, if I understood you ladies correctly, for the end of this year, it's looking like we'll have some of that money that we set aside from general fund to cover the budget. I don't want to really say a number, but some of that coming back that didn't get used. We'll just leave it at that for right now because we really don't know until the end of the year. So next year, we're going to get into one of these situations where we're tightening up these budgets so tight that there's probably not going to be that overage or as much coming back because we're addressing things from a budget standpoint going forward where there's not any
And if we've
or
taken,
cushion.
pull down the general fund by 1.3 and we only put 500,000 in, that starts.
I mean, that's awesome that we've got a chunk of that coming back from last year, but so that we're, I guess, prepared that next year when we sit down to do this, or who's ever in these chairs, it might not be quite as pretty.
Well, we're not gonna have as much wiggle.
Right, that's where I'm going with that. Thank you. Yeah. It's gonna continue to get tougher from here on out.
So another kind of big picture thing to keep in mind is if the board does elect to move forward with a bonding package, we have to go through something called a ratings call. And one of the things that they hit very hard on is your budgets and your use of your fund balance. And just keep in mind that if we, over the last 3 years, have steadily increased what we're pulling from the fund balance to balance our budget, that could potentially impact that ratings call, which impacts your interest rates that you would get on borrowed money.
And whereas if you pulled from revenue, you wouldn't look at that negatively, but if you pulled from the general fund, that could ding you a little bit.
So they typically will ask for your audit. So we will be able to show, hey, we expected to use this much from the general fund in this year, but we only actually had to use this much. But if on the budget side, if we're continuing to show that we're budgeting to pull more and more from general fund, that might be of concern to S&P.
Good point. That was brought up last year too.
Are we significantly higher in what we're pulling than we were 3 years ago?
I would have to check on that, Jeremy.
What did he say?
Are we significantly higher than what we pulled 3 years ago?
3 years ago, I'd say yes.
Last year was 1 million, right?
Last year's 1 point, we're budgeting for the same this year. 1.2 something. Another question I'd thought of, would it help us any at all? If I understood Sky correctly at the last meeting, that asphalt plant came up, putting that on a GO bond. But that's not going to help from a levy standpoint, put that plant on a bond for the highway department, I don't think, if I remember right.
You're correct.
It doesn't help the rest of these budgets. It'll dig us out of the hole, but it won't, help with levy for the budgets we're working on.
No, would it help? So the last highway meeting, Mr. Kern is working on a plan there, which I'm thinking we're gonna hear more, I think, next Monday's highway? His estimate to keep up with bonding the roads was gonna be about, or to get back on track for paving the roads we need to, was going to be more like 3.5 every 2 years to 4 range instead of 3 million. But I don't know if that's going to do any good from a levy standpoint. I guess we're not gonna know what that would be. I mean, if the highway does more work, more road work, that should increase their equipment fund from a purchasing standpoint for equipment. But I had this conversation with Mr. Biller yesterday, and it's looking like the next year or two, we've got a lot of chip money and trip money to use up. So that's gonna be a tough one, because if we run that asphalt through our plant, then you can't use some of that money unless you put a lift on a road, and some of these roads don't need a lift. So if we run the asphalt to the plant, then we can't use the funds. The asphalt has to come from a third party and come from the county. So then we're gonna end up leaving some of that money on the table. So it actually costs us more in the long run. But he has Justin looking into that more. But I'm wondering, could we increase their bond a little bit? I don't know how to do that. Would that alleviate some of their levy, maybe? If we took some money out of the equipment fund and used it for operations. But I think that's a slippery slope.
Well, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're not accomplishing anything.
Right. Yeah. You probably could alleviate some off the highways levy, but. Right.
I would say that number one really should be seriously looked at, because that state fiscal note is from 2019. So that's, money that's kind of been sitting out there for quite some time.
I agree. So should we do that first and look at a spot in highway where we want to specifically put that?
So can that be put toward the budget 312?
County highway construction. Yeah, if that's an eligible.
I don't,
Put it on line 19 on the spreadsheet.
usually would go to 29 is where it would transfer from capital projects will come in as a revenue.
Okay. Well, those funds were specifically for, if I remember right, highway and or Well, we don't know what this was specifically for from 19. Was there a resolution or anything passed with that when it was brought on?
2019, was that a state trust fund loan, Tanya? That was on the TO
Oh.
bond?
I think it was.
Yeah, so then I think that's a slightly different.
Things that were paid were Spillman, HVAC, and then the rest was unassigned.
And we had pulled for RUP paving from this money in 2022.
Correct.
So Chris's assumption was that if RUP paving was okay in 22, that's likely an allowable expense under that loan.
I think, my thought is it should go on line 29. I mean, it's not like we're giving them free money, we're just assigning it somewhere.
Yeah, we're forcing them to spend money they already have.
Right. Everybody good with that? Okay. Now then we need to pull that same amount out of line, what, 25? Or how are we gonna do that?
It offsets expenses, so you don't want to put more.
Okay, so it'll balance out at the end? Okay,
You're just putting more revenue.
okay.
And it's already currently showing up as an expense in the capital projects. So I don't, it's put in there, anticipation of it being used.
Okay, next. Number 2. Okay, so we have it at 1.3 million for forestry. So that's increased quite a bit in the last few years. Number 3 is highway again.
So which line was our, tree revenue on? Is it talking about the stumpage?
Well, increase the revenue, I'm assuming stumpage.
Stumpage is showing 890,000.
So on budget,
So total collections is 1.3. I misread that. Total revenue for forestry must be 1.3.
so on budget 610,
Line 44.
right,
Okay.
So on there, it's right at 1 million. For 2025, we're expecting 1.3. And in the proposed changes, we're looking to add 65 to it. It doesn't seem like a lot, given that we've got 1.3 that we're expecting to collect in 2025. So that would be one place that we could maybe increase a little bit. We had the budget for 1 million last year, so it's only increasing it to 1,065,000.
24 actual is 1.8.
Right. Yeah, 1.8, so. What is the forestry committee projecting for? Are they projecting 1.3 for this year?
That's what we're told. Yeah. I haven't heard anything different than 1.3.
That's what note number 2 says, yeah.
So, would realistically 2026 be
Well,
to that 1.3 or not?
Well, see, that's the concern though, is that you get actual 2024, 1.8, and then you get projected 1.3 for 2025. And so the worry for us is the downward trend. And some of this revenue is carried over from when the contracts were good. Now our newer contracts, we're not getting our either people aren't bidding the minimum bid sometimes and we're having to direct sell them, or we're just not getting that many more bidders, so it's not as competitive. I don't know that $65,000 might still be in it, but I want much more than that. We do $1,065,000, but that's right. I thought it was, I guess I was questioning whether Chris talked to Jared on this or where he did interpolated that, the trends as to where we're going.
Well, the first 6 months in 25 is almost 1 million. So adding 65 to 1 million, you're almost there without worrying about the 1.3. Where does the stumpage revenue come in the first half of the year?
Well,
Because, again, they're showing 2025 almost $1 million in the first 6 months. So, is that skewed?
it all depends.
So there's seasonality.
Didn't hear that.
Do they realize most of the revenue in the first 6 months of the year, or is it kind of staggered throughout the whole year?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Is the money staggered out through the whole year? Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
He's asking the
sure.
same
You know,
thing I
it
said.
depends on when they
That
close
12
up.
month is coming from Jared. I mean, that's his
Mhm.
budget.
So a lot of times at the end of the year, that's when she really starts piling in.
Well, no, because you got contracts too at different times.
I know, but sometimes if they want to finish them out.
Right. But there's contracts too in the middle of the year too. So I don't know that the second half is better.
So if we don't know, then we have to kind of assume it's gonna be the same.
My only concern is from the 2024 actual to the 2025 predicted is more or less a 25% drop, over 20%.
And I don't know how conservative Jared was being on that either. 'Cause I doubt he's gonna put it higher than what he thinks. If anything, he'd probably go on the low side, right? So maybe it is 1.5.
Well, it usually is. I mean, you've almost, yeah, like somebody said, almost hit
Well, when it comes
the
to
target in the first 6 months.
The year-to-date.
But there again, we don't know how many jobs were finished up at the beginning of 25 or. Maybe looking at this, it sure would stand 65.
Mhm. I think so too. That's not being excessive.
It looks like right now, year to date is 121, or excuse me.
$1 million.
I'm missing there, right? 1,216,000,
we only got
almost
some.
217.
So that sounds like it's on the track to hit the 1.3.
At least, anyway.
Maybe we should just bump it up like another 400,000. That'd really help us out if we got plugged in on.
Well, I do know that Jared is very concerned
Yeah.
about it, but
Can you sell that to the forestry committee there, Mr. Forestry committee guy? Put up another 400,000, so you guys got a goal to hit for the year?
It's better to be conservative with revenues, but to the point, 65,000 is probably still.
75? I was just asking, you don't have to get defensive. I can't pick on Terry all the time, I'd pick on you once in a while, otherwise it wouldn't be fair.
That's right, because I'll ask for the excess to go to animal shelter.
Ooh, better stop 65.
You only need
I got you.
52.
I got Jim back on my side.
You played your card too quick, Terry.
Give you one ace.
The FTE for the animal shelter is one of the few expenses I'll actually support this year.
You're breaking up really bad.
Can't hear that.
So, is everybody okay with putting 65,000 on for extra revenue?
Yep.
Okay with that? Mr. Vincent?
I agree.
Okay.
So that takes care of the gap.
We got a lot of time yet, we can keep going.
That reduces the fund balance too.
What's that? Without reducing the fund balance.
It reduces the amount.
It reduces the amount of fund balance
Oh.
needed.
Okay.
$1,133, it says here.
And it will be more because the adjustment that was made for the wages.
Oh, and maybe some of these guys might not know what happened to personnel with insurance. Was that in here somewhere? I just scoped through this quick, but
I don't think I explicitly said what it was, just that changes were made.
No, I only got the bullet point.
was it in the bullet points? You know, I didn't read all this. What was that, 40?
Approximately,
So overall, it was 41, I believe, something like that. But when you're putting the numbers in, those are under fully funded programs or under grants or under, so you're not going to see that complete 41 hit the reduction in levy need. But then we also changed from just looking at everyone being on the buy-up plan to putting in what their actual is. So that did adjust it some as well.
But you've got that figured in.
That's all figured in.
So in a sense, weren't we like 138 before, so we ended up saving about 35 is what we did.
well, and then she's saying we actually ended up saving a little more because for reasons that we aren't aware of, we used to budget everyone at the highest health insurance, right? And so Tanya noticed that went through and budgeted actual, which will result in a savings as well.
Actual and then vacant positions, and you went on the highest.
Yes.
Right now, that is, they are still the buy-up family in talking with Chris and I guess past budgeting practices. That's very conservative. So, I mean, that would also be something in the future. We don't have a lot of vacancies that are open, so it's probably wouldn't be huge, but which was suggested to do like a blended rate, or Chris said that they used to take your single and your family, do an in-between. So those are options in the future.
I just don't want to see us get in a situation where we end up short either.
Not being conservative enough in the budgeting.
Yeah, because what happens when you start forecasting off the actuals in this case is somebody, like, let's say gets married or has a child and bumps up to the family plan, then you're no longer forecasted correctly and you're going to go above what you forecasted.
Yeah, and that could happen. Need a little cushion there.
So it's just, you know, I don't think that it's, I mean, $50,000 is only going to break the budget. It's not going to break the fund balance. So I'm okay with the change, even though it's a little less conservative than I would like.
We did kind of a blended thing there. We did 100 per HSA on single or family. Got taken away.
300. It was 300.
300?
200 on a single and 100 on.
Yes, so
Oh, that's right.
single went to 25 and family went to 5,000.
1,000. So it was 100 off one and 200 off single.
Yes,
Yeah.
or 300 total, right?
So it was 26 and
It
30.
was 27 and 51.
Yeah, it was a weird, I remember when we did that last year. It was like, I remember walking out of that meeting. I still remember that. Like, how the hell did we just come up with that number? But it's where it ended up. And I think I'm the bonehead that did the motion, so. But, and then we did, insurance went up 9.5%. which if we wouldn't have been contracted, it could have went much higher because we're actually at 159% of premiums. On our insurance this year had a lot of big claims, so it wasn't a good year for us to be looked at. So it's really good that Heath locked us in last year for 2 years in a row. Or whoever was responsible for that, I'm giving her the credit for now.
Well, and then it's
But-
not only just your own, but it must be geographically as well. Does that affect insurance rates too? Or is it, because like my insurance for my rentals went up over 50% this year, and I've never had a claim.
Yeah,
You know, so I'm like,
it looks at what's happening in your area, but for health insurance specifically, it focuses in on that rate Jim was talking about.
Yeah, we had a bad year. It's just nobody's fault, it's just life, but we just had a bad year from a claim standpoint. And then what we did partial percentage on that 9.5. I don't remember how did we end up there. So we did a blend. We did part of it HSA, part of it into the premium. And we moved it to 88%.
The base plan, which is the higher deductible plan,
82.
stayed at 88, yep. And then that buy-up plan, which is a lower deductible, we moved down from 85 to 82.
There you go. Of the percentage that we pay. So. And that gave us the 30-some thousand. Otherwise, it would have been, I think, like 138 or 140, our insurance, which we had in the budget already here. So. I mean, there is option 4 yet, but I don't know where to.
I think with making the two, by reading what he has on line 3, that will balance what we need. He's just throwing out 4 as another option if.
an alternative to the forestry avenue or something. But I think we already brought that down. And I think we gotta be back up where we need to be, otherwise eventually we're gonna have to catch up at some point out on the highway, otherwise.
Well, we're in a conundrum out there too, because we haven't ordered any trucks. They're not budgeted for this year. We're gonna end up in the same boat again where we probably need to order a truck, but it may show up next year and it may not. So hopefully by the time it shows up, there'll be, I think we have to pay for the chassis when it comes in, and I don't, maybe Ashley remembers, I think we pay for the chassis when that comes in, and I think we paid for the plow when that's done. So you might as well figure $350. So, and they need a tractor, and yeah, so I don't know, that'll all be discussed farther, but I'm try to pull it out of the equipment fund. But my thought is if we don't keep as one truck coming year, we're gonna end up behind the 8 ball again and having to order 2, 3, or 4 trucks in an 18-month window, and we gotta somewhat stay on track with that, whether we like it or not, I think. Is there any other equipment that we questioned that was being purchased that I thought we went back over and covered it all? I know we covered the skid steer, we picked on Brett.
Forestry cut out a bunch of stuff right away.
Yeah, they cut the ATV. There were some lawnmowers there. Was there some lawnmowers and maintenance too?
Those just got approved at property, didn't they? Mm-hmm.
Or this year?
It's money in his
I've
budget.
seen it coming up on the next agenda. So they approved it there, but they don't know where to pull the money from?
I
Is
believe
that what's happening?
some of the money they want to tap into is in a fund balance in like courthouse equipment or something like that, that you guys have.
Oh, the slush one.
Let me
Oh,
look.
there's some money left out there somewhere.
Do you remember, Terry? It was a fund balance. It was a fund balance, I think.
Yeah, but
They had the money.
what do the minutes?
That's what I'm looking. Maintenance equipment fund and forward to finance for approval. I got. So what, it was something they had already. I thought she said they had the money.
That's what the minutes say, then that's probably, why would finance need to approve out of the maintenance budget though? It wasn't use of fund balance. I thought this was coming from equipment.
Did it meet a threshold?
That threshold is for property.
I think I might have to go on before finance and watch that one. The version I heard was that they didn't come to a consensus and just decided to forward it to finance to figure out.
No, there was a motion by Hanson, a second by Ciesler.
Motion by what?
Hanson, second by Ciesler.
To what?
To approve up to $32,000 to purchase 2 mowers from Tractor Central or Lake Holcomb sales from the maintenance equipment fund and forward to finance for approval.
Then they don't have it in their budget.
Yeah, because if it was in the budget, that wouldn't have to go to finance.
$32,000 for 2 holy crappy-oly.
Because they're,
Do they have heat and air, I hope,
I
too?
don't know, they are actual, like, they're not your regular mower, they're your
Zero turn?
Commercial.
commercial.
I heard they were commercial, like a 72-inch deck. For 16, you should be able to get one with a full cab on it, I would almost think, with heat and air. Darn near.
Radio, Bluetooth.
Oh, got a radio, Bluetooth, definitely.
Seat massagers.
Suspension seat, air ride,
Subwoofers.
no go flat tires.
I'm gonna have to listen to the video too.
But that's going to be on the regular finance meeting.
Well, that has nothing to do with what we're trying to accomplish here, so.
Well, my comments, which you already know, this budget does not address the need for another half-time person at the animal shelter. And again, this proposed budget includes the use of, well, you reduced it a little bit more now, but 1.242 million of fund balance. So we're not addressing that gap at all. We're just borrowing or taking out the fund balance, the same amount we took out last year. We're not addressing the causes of that or to stop that.
I would agree with your latter part of your statement. That thought has crossed my mind too, because, well, let's just be honest. Last year we attempted to address it. We had a lot of tough meetings. And when it come time to take it to the board, we all turned tail and ran. I changed my vote too, so I gotta own up to it also. But we should have kept going in that direction because we knew we were gonna be back here again this year. It wasn't gonna be any different. Actually, I kind of pictured it probably worse.
It's kind of like a structural deficit that we're not addressing.
Right. Then we can't keep doing this for 10 years until it's gone. And every time a job comes up at personnel, we're told that they need it. Now, Speaking of a budget, now that I'm thinking about this, and I don't want to get off of what Terry's comment was either, but I want to make sure we have the right budget in here for land and water. So that is the one where we're going to not have an administrative assistant. That's the last one we looked at. But then in personnel, I heard there was more than one version. I want to make sure which version we're going to approve.
So I believe Sky had voiced the same concern.
Which budget is this?
It'd be the land con one, wouldn't it?
There,
LCD.
I think so.
okay.
We've seen some different variables and I'm not sure which one we're, I thought the last meeting we agreed we were going with the one where we were eliminating the administrative assistant out of there and going to fill the zoning tech. And that is at personnel, what I understood was going to be the plan for 26.
What account number is that?
That I don't know. I think 130,
130, okay.
I think. Some in here.
Well, they've reduced,
This is so fluid because,
yeah,
you know, part goes here, part goes there. I believe the title of the position was administrative assistant.
research is vacant for 2026. They increased Fritz's time to 1,000, but that's grant hours.
And then I understood the grant that was coming in that was funding roughly 50% of that administrative assistant position was going to get moved to different areas, kind of dwindled out, but some of it was going to go towards zoning tech. Maybe Tanya hasn't gotten an updated one regarding all this, I'm not sure.
Problems opening now, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so here on 132, in Excel line 13, it does say 0 for grant admin assistant, but that's only.
Projected for 22 Feb is only 3,600.
Right. But 16 was appropriated for 25. Which is kind of, okay, and then that suddenly changed.
Well, line 10, the GIS specialists, they increased the hours or from 30% to 49.
I think that's how Nick explained it to us too. That's where some of that was going to go. Some of revenue was going to go to offset these others. So in this one right here that's in our packet, there's nothing for. But what's confusing about this is what was the total budget last year for the admin assistant?
So
I'm gonna say yes this time.
15. And then if you go down at the bottom, it does say administrative assistant vacant, and then it's got zeros all the way across. So 121, right? Yeah, 121. So That must be line 13 then.
Yeah, I think so.
But it doesn't let me go to different tabs. Control stuck.
I think Sky was working with him on this, wasn't she? Ashley, do you remember?
Yeah, she was, and this was the concern that Sky brought up, and maybe personnel needs to talk about it a little bit more, is that while that was the intent, the personnel didn't make a motion to eliminate that position, if you will. And I'm not involved in the HR side of things in terms of that person currently holding that position moving up into the technician position. I know you authorized that to be filled. I don't know where recruiting on that is standing at this time, or promotion or whatever that is. And so I think there was a little bit of discomfort about putting that to 0 without official action, that transition had been made.
We did discuss it though.
You did, yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I made everybody aware that that line item was 0 for 26.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I guess, right, maybe that needs to be readdressed and that position froze or something.
Right.
Because otherwise 6 months into the new year, somebody could say, well, there's an open position.
That was my concern.
Wasn't eliminated.
Right.
That was my concern.
No money in there, they can't pull it.
And then, yeah, so that was kind of now that she mentioned it, I think that was kind of where the discussion went. We're like, well, if there's no money in there, you can't put anybody back in the position. And if this budget gets passed this way by the board, well, then, I don't know, does it matter if we freeze the position or not, because there's no money to fund it?
Right, and you can always do a budget amendment.
Right.
But I think, and HR had to leave early for family reasons, but I think that conversation should happen with HR. How do I say this? We want to make sure that the person transitioning into that position meets all of the qualifications of that position.
I had that concern, but I didn't want to discuss it in open.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Tanya has suggestions on if we leave the funding in there? Do we take it out before personnel can touch base again on that?
If this was a position I was thinking about tackling already 2 or 3 months ago when it kind of became vacant, and then I thought the individual was coming back to go into that role again, and that didn't happen. That's probably when it should have been nipped, right?
Yeah, you're probably right. Mm-hmm.
Hindsight is so clear.
Yeah. Another thing that we've been reminded, by Baird about is that this is the recommendation that is sent to the board. The budget is not, you guys can amend the budget on the floor at the hearing at any point if circumstances change between your recommendation and the actual budget hearing. Obviously, we want to be as accurate as possible with what we.
So there's less amendments, but if
Right.
there's unknowns, by the time we get to budget hearing day,
Yep. You still have an opportunity. It becomes the body's, budget to amend as they see fit.
we've made 1,000 amendments leading up to there. And now, other than we didn't have to say amendment because we just made it in one document. But there can always be 2 or 3 made at the board.
So yeah, I think to recap, I think the personnel committee and the LCDD director did agree that this is a prudent course of action, but I think there's still some details to be worked out, and then something official from the committee would probably be beneficial just for clarity purposes.
Think it needs to come from this one too?
That's really up to you guys. Personnel typically handles
Yeah.
that
I mean, I think if we bring them up to speed where we're at,
Mhm.
I don't see a problem. I would agree with you. That needs to be done there because otherwise someone, yeah, it needs to be addressed. So back to Terry's point, what are we gonna do to fix this moving forward? Jeremy should have it all figured out by now.
I'm still thinking. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a structural imbalance, and the only way out is to generate more revenue, and the only way to generate more revenue is either to drive up the price of timber or get more businesses into the county.
I like where your head's at.
Well, that's going to help you from a sales tax,
Property.
property tax, but our property taxes that went up just from our valuations.
No, but just because your property
The value,
value went up doesn't mean you get to levy more on it. You levy based on that new
Mill rate.
construction.
The mill rate.
Well, the mill rate went down, but if you're paying $100 on your property and you say your property's worth $100,000, but now it's worth $200,000, but you're still paying $100, you're not paying less taxes. It just means that the mill rate changed because they're saying your property's worth more. And the only way you get the valuation doesn't affect your, how much more you can levy. It's in that construction. So getting businesses.
but sales tax has went up. A little, at least that's trending in the right direction, it's not going negative. I was concerned with losing some of the businesses we've lost, that could go the other direction.
So you really have two options here. You could leave it at 0 because that is, I think that's the intent of the personnel committee, right? So you could leave it at 0, and then if the personnel committee changes course, you could do an amendment at the budget hearing. Or you could put all of the funding back in and then do the opposite, remove the funding at the budget hearing.
Out. I guess that's what, up to everybody else, but I would rather make somebody make the amendment to put it back in. Make the amendment to put it out.
Well, when it comes to personnel again, I mean, people could change their minds, but I don't see that being an issue when it comes back around there, but I could be wrong.
To Ashley's point, you could still amend to put it back in if personnel felt differently.
I agree with you all that I think there's some ambiguity here that's got to be clarified for everyone.
Yeah, and I thought we were kind of in agreement on this last time we discussed it here, and then when it came back up, then I had some doubts if we were all on the same page, all the parties involved. Oh,
So if this balances the budget as we have it now, what about attacking the structural deficit?
I mean, that's a really hard question, but
I think that Chris had talked about, and actually I brought up, and I know it's not gonna solve the world's problems, but the fees and putting something in place. Make sure that they're looked at.
That's.
Right, and I think once our new finance director comes, I think she'll probably bring a lot of great ideas. I think we could also look at maybe early on in the year, having a meeting with the board to see what your guys' priorities are, and that would help through the budget process as well. I think she will come with a lot of ideas.
We're doing the buckets.
And we're doing the buckets, yes. May we visit just one other budget quickly so we can update you on the debt service?
Yep.
Okay, that was the only, I think, other change we made from last time. So with the action that the board took at the last county board meeting, a financing package will be presented to the ad hoc committee on Monday, which will then likely be forwarded to the board. We got the preliminary number, the budget number from Baird. And again, this doesn't impact the operating levy, this impacts the debt levy. So this has no bearing on what we just discussed, but we want to show you what that does to the debt service. And Baird will be presenting in person, actually. They're coming on Monday to talk to the ad hoc because they are, if you'll recall, the proposal that they have been showing for the last several months was the big bonding package first and then 2 bank qualifieds following that. They have now switched the order of that up because we are still waiting on the bids where they moved a smaller bank qualified borrowing first. And then they would propose the larger borrowing if you guys accept the bids and choose to move forward with those 2 projects, and then a bank qualified bonding. So we just want to.
The graph, I suppose you'll have a presentation.
No, the impact is still 17, 16, 16, 16.
It's pretty consistent with
Yep.
what they've shown as far as that.
Correct, yes, the mill rate impact, that 65 cents remained the same. They are simply recommending, because you guys don't have the bids back, because you haven't accepted the bids, why would you authorize that large of a bonding first?
so speaking of that, when you're at the next ad hoc meeting, I wish I could find time to go to one, but my concern is going forward, when we hear some of the things we've heard from maintenance and stuff, is where that money's gonna come from going forward to fix these elevators, fix this boiler, and I mean, are we gonna at that time be forced to take another bond out? Or what? I think that should be included in some of this. And some of these repairs should be done. In the remodeling of the 2nd floor, there should be something budgeted for that. Whether, I know they don't have an idea yet, but what they want to do, but I just, that's part of my big hang up with that whole thing is, it's just like, okay, we're gonna build this over here, but then
Kurt did
whatever,
say,
we're just gonna leave this sit here and use the 2nd floor for storage. Well,
Kurt did say when they do bids for the jail project though, that he would include alternate to do the remodeling for that, and that was something I talked to him about, that, you know.
yeah, but he had 30 days from the last time he talked about it, and he didn't even bring us a rough idea.
Yeah, well, then I thought, my understanding, he was bringing that to the board, but I guess he's gonna do this alternate. So hopefully you have that alternate in. And then at least you know what your actual cost of, you know, because
speaking of
you're not gonna leave a debt.
Speaking of construction, if this all goes through, what is the plan then for, I mean, I've read so far that we're losing our storage for the ambulance. What's gonna be the plan for an ambulance garage?
Losing it, or is there a?
I don't know, that's my
increase that
understanding.
has to be negotiated yet.
So Emergency Services yesterday directed that 2 members of the board begin negotiations with the city the city proposed a new lease
Oh,
at the fire hall
well, I
for,
thought they were asking us that they needed the space and would like us out of there, I didn't know.
they've elected the 90-day non-renewal,
Right.
but they have proposed this alternative.
So it's not off the table.
No,
The old rate was $1, right? And now they're
$1
saying,
a year, yep,
we're gonna charge you for it.
$2,000 a month.
$1 is really not charging. Now they're like, all right, we're gonna start charging, so. But
So that might have.
that's,
Is
if
that
we,
gonna affect our levy at all, or is there enough emergency services to,
Ambulance can go above the levy, so that won't, you don't necessarily need to cut anywhere, but it's still a tax impact, you know.
well, hopefully when they sit down, maybe they can negotiate a little bit on that too. Maybe that's not set in stone. I don't know, but hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, the big us has been like, they're talking about the age of the elevators, you know, right? And that's a couple $1 million. Do we think that, no, I better not open that can of worms. I'm not opening, I'm gonna shut up.
okay? I admire your restraint.
Thing.
You could be like Jim, just open a can.
Yeah, I just like to kick that can in the corner and watch it pop open, but that's all right. Everybody's gotta be different.
I mean, are we starting to approach the fact that the cost to remodel the old building and build the new jail would be as much as just building a brand new building outside of town? With everything in it and make it nice for everybody?
So the master plan committee did look at that, and at the time, the cost to do that, on a green site it exceeded our borrowing capacity.
That was the whole Justice Center, wasn't it?
It was, moving everything.
Or you mean the whole courthouse and everything? Yeah, that was pushing 80, I think, give or take.
Yeah, so one of them, remember Barrett doesn't want us to go below that 40% on the geo capacity, just in case we had a true emergency. So the Justice Center itself and the jail exceeded that limit, and then redoing all of the facilities, so this entire complex exceeded our debt capacity. Like, we literally couldn't borrow that much money.
That's how we ended up in this kind of big construction plan where we do like a jail and then we renovate the old building and things like that.
Yeah, so essentially what the master plan committee said was, okay, we do not want to overburden ourselves with debt, so we're gonna need to look at how we can do this in phases.
Okay, that checks out with me then. I was wondering, because, never mind. I was just, was looking at some other counties and what they've done, and they built just that one big center outside of town. It seems to work for them, and, just wanted to know why we didn't go that route. And it sounds like we have valid financial reasons for that.
Okay, so Tanya has highlighted what that proposed amount would be. Just another note on this, if this parameters resolution gets forwarded to the board and it doesn't pass the board, then again, you have the opportunity at the budget hearing to amend this number to not include that bonding. But we have to provide proper notice to the taxpayers. So when this hits the newspaper, we have to, make them aware that this is under consideration, for the budget for 2026.
Which is line?
What budget is this?
125?
No, but
In the
Debt
finance.
service.
finance?
Okay, so say that again, Ashley, sorry. This is with what we've done thus far,
So,
put underneath bond.
yep, so well, this number is the proposed number from Baird if the bonding package passes the board at its October meeting.
Okay.
The timing here is weird because Tanya has to get the budget to the newspaper to print. So the taxpayer is on notice. They have the right to look at the budget. They have the right to come to the budget hearing and voice their concern. We want that number in there because the taxpayer might have valid public comment on that, right? However, again, timing wise, if at that October meeting you guys fail to pass the financing package, it would be prudent of you on the floor at the budget hearing to say that bonding package didn't pass. We need to amend budget 125 to take out that debt service because that bonding package failed.
And this either has to be done by the end of this year, or it either has to be bonded by the end of this year, correct? Or
No.
She's got deadlines.
So I have a deadline. So once you post that in the paper and you come back for budget, I have to get stuff to the Department of Revenue by November 15th. Then that stuff goes out to the municipalities, and that's how the taxes are created for the county.
No, what I'm referring to is we had a time frame when we started these little things that we're doing with the design and the, we had a time frame to put them back on the bonding, correct?
Oh, right. So the reimbursement resolution, yes. Mhm.
But wasn't that kind of like the end of this year, or was it 2 years total from when we started?
I believe it was 18 months from the first. I'd have to revisit that, but when Justin presents to the ad hoc committee, and I would suggest you guys, if you can tune in, you can watch it or watch the video, because what he's proposing with this first package pays all of our general fund back. And that is to the tune of about $1.8 million.
And that covers what we spent out of pocket so
Yes,
far.
that covers what we've been pulling from.
Or what's eligible, probably. It was a little over 2 total, wasn't it?
I would have to look.
For some reason, I thought I heard that number one.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just under 2, that's where you're at the wall.
Mhm. But yes, so if the bonding passes, if you guys move forward with both of those projects, our general fund will be made whole because you passed that reimbursement resolution.
Ooh. 2026 budget depends on the board passing that resolution.
Yes, yep. So for transparency's sake, it is best to include this in the budget that gets posted to the public. If that resolution does fail and we are not going to bond for any money this year, then one of the supervisors would likely amend the budget to take this number out. So we are not levying unnecessarily onto the taxpayer.
So I have a question. So say this one doesn't go through, but the next one comes through. So don't we have to put something in there because, it could change, and this is for 2026, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't make sense to me, that's all.
That's a good point, because if we leave it in the budget, if we bond January of 26, but then it's not gonna go against.
It would go on the tax
It's gotta
rolls
go on
for
the
the,
funds,
So you're
for the
putting on-
following year.
I got
Yeah,
it.
because we can't levy we can't over levy.
I got it.
Yeah, that's right.
We almost need to do this one.
We put like a special assessment on rental properties.
Farms.
Okay. 40%.
Hey, that's actually not a terrible idea. I wouldn't say like rental properties, but like I've heard of other municipalities doing things like Verbo and Airbnb special assessments, and then like special assessments on like second homes and lake homes for out-of-state residents. I don't know if we
You're
can do
talking
that.
about room tax on hotels and Airbnbs. Not landlords renting
Is that-
houses out. Jim was trying to help me, I think.
Yeah, but you're an in-county property owner. You'd be safe.
Well, here's the thing though, is I went in the city of Ladysmith when they did this too. They had this big curb and gutter assessment that was gonna be $20,000. They said to me, and I went to the council meeting and they said, oh, this isn't gonna affect people, cause some of the tenants were in there and different stuff. And well, you guys, it's gonna affect your landlords. And I said, well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, as a landlord, if I get $20,000, guess who's paying more rent to make up the difference? It's the tenant. So it's 100% affecting every tenant. That's opposite of
Yeah.
people to move here, Jeremy.
Yeah, but the Airbnb owners are not you.
No, Airbnb, yeah, the room tax, but I don't think the county's eligible to do the room tax anyways, right,
We
Ashley?
are,
Are we?
yes, we are. No, not the
tax,
county,
no.
municipalities are.
Municipal- yeah.
Sorry.
Municipalities, not county.
Don't some
And
counties
City of
have,
Ladysmith does a room tax already.
I thought when I stayed someplace, I thought some counties do have a additional room tax.
Counties?
No, statute doesn't allow that. It's like Connie said, it's just municipalities. So you might,
I think Illinois does it. I stayed in Chicago in September. Yeah, I think there was a county tax on that.
Was it the county sales tax or was it a room tax?
I don't remember what it was called.
Is that something the new finance director might be able to know? Is like what kind of assessments we're maybe not doing now that we could impose?
yeah, and I know that Jamie had brought up like a wheel tax before, but that's up to you guys because that's shifting, more burden onto the taxpayer.
I remember the numbers.
I mean, I hate to talk about it, but we're at a place where it's barely able to provide, basic services, and so, something's got to give, and it shouldn't be the county.
But if we can't keep people to move here with the taxes where they're at, and you add more taxes, Russ County, the one with the wheel tax.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's,
I think your earlier
I
point
don't know
about,
if it's because of the taxes or because we don't have, a lot of attractions or the kind of things that they want to see and do.
so let's attack it there.
I think
Economic
it's,
development.
Would that be steel wheels too?
I think his earlier point of a landlord tax was probably had a little bit of traction.
That was you.
I agree with the chairman.
You guys start ganging up on me today. Did you guys get together ahead of time so it's ganging up on Phil Day?
That's all the public gets for entertainment, so.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yeah, I hope they're not laughing. This one, Phil is always going to bring up on the do it in person day.
Well, back to our biggest thing. So we're good there, right, Tanya?
You guys are good.
Okay. I mean, it's gotta be in there. Unless someone else has a opposing opinion, but
Ashley left because she was boycotting your guys' nonsense. She had planned to stay during the whole thing, but you guys got so crazy. She just said, I'm boycotting that.
you could be right. It's 4:30, it's quitting time. Somewhere.
She's got other things.
I'm sticking with she's boycotting Jeremy and Jim's nonsense.
Could be.
Well, we're about
So you could, I mean, if you forward this on to county board, you could get this. No, we can't approve this right now. It's gotta be November.
But, well, we've got one more shot to look at this on
16.
next Thursday.
You should have an
But
agenda item in case something comes up
it's,
too.
it's on there to go over them one more time. I guess unless you guys,
Terry, do you have the 13th scheduled as well? That's a conversation we have to have. We can't have that.
well, we're not that far yet, but yeah, we do. I'd say. What else do I have on here? Okay. But yeah, we do have to address meeting dates before we. But back to the point, I mean, I'm out of ideas to cut to 1.2 million. I mean, other than cut services and or, which would also probably eliminate some positions. I mean, figure out some way to create more revenue, but you overcharge for some of our services that are allowable to be charged for, and then people will just use less of them. So then do you really gain revenue or not? I mean, that's one thing to consider also.
It's almost like we need more services that do bring in revenue. Like, it's not really bringing new services without spending money, or it's a circular argument.
Yeah.
This is probably off topic, but I think at the next county board meeting, there's going to be a presentation about for feeding my people or feeding the county thing with connections closing. I think that's going to be, I don't know if there'll be a proposal, but they're going to go to the city council also and make some comments about that. We have another meeting on that tomorrow, but my suggestion always was that the city and the Indian Head should meet and agree and everything and not charge the food pantry and leave it where it is. And no rent, no electricity, no utilities, no nothing, and let the city and Indian Head absorb those costs and just leave it where it is. Because we've looked at a lot of other different solutions and everything. Like I say, that's off the topic right now. But I think they are going to come and make a presentation at the county board meeting, and they're about feeding that, because Hope Lutheran can't feed the whole county unless we get a lot more donations.
So you're on that committee too, so you'll be able to help present on it.
What?
You'll be able to help present on it a little bit.
Well, yeah, somebody else is doing the presentation from what I've heard.
Yeah, I did get called.
But again, this goes back to the structural deficit. Again, you know, you can't keep doing this every year, and you know, that'll affect the bond rating, that'll increase our interest costs and, you know, everything. And then if we do get a real emergency or something, you know, we're going to be out of.
You can do the 500,000 again like you did last year. You could.
But to bond to fix the budget isn't fixing
It's
the.
not helping.
Either.
It was.
So what we did with that last year was we bonded it, turned around and paid it back. But that went against the levy.
Yeah, that was a way to circumvent the levy cap, basically.
But I'm not quite sure, do you know, I kind of got the feeling that people were not in favor of that this year.
I don't think it should be, what I was hearing, it should not be the go-to, because it's really paying for operating costs, and that's not what.
But what if we looked at it strictly for, the reason it was done last year was for HHS, correct?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
For their
it was a
overages.
big over.
So what if we looked at that and just did that part of it, is there any other, I mean, that's a service that in a sense is above and beyond, that's out of our
Like,
control.
potentially, it's like you're paying for your money, you have your general fund, so that, I mean, you're still,
But
Well, and the next thing is, okay,
and then you're bonding, it just the same thing, it affects future bonding,
yeah, if you
your rates and your.
It's not a bond.
well, and then it catches the idea that we don't have to figure out a balanced budget, because the next thing somebody comes to the board and they're like, okay, let's just start adding positions because we can just bond more for it. Well, that's not, I think at this point, we're definitely don't have the money to be adding a bunch of stuff, but how many times have we heard that? Oh, we'll add this and we'll add that.
was that 500,000 last year or whatever it was, 550, I don't remember, but was that was beside the 1.2 from general fund, correct? So in a sense, we did better this year, and we gave a 3% raise.
Yeah, it would.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
I think we did better budgeting this year than we did last year.
We,
but we did, there's some money sitting out there from earlier in the 2000s.
you're garbled up pretty bad, Jeremy.
Can't understand.
Oh, I don't know why I was echoing. I was just saying we depleted some fund balances this year.
Yeah, we didn't catch that. We can hear you, but it's coming through really like muffled.
I give up.
That was better.
We heard that.
I think the truth is that we did better than inflation this year, right? So as long as the expenses and then the budget gap that we ended up with was less than inflation, we did a good job.
Well, and if a person went back through and redid it, to your point, we are not budgeted as conservatively as we were last year, if that makes sense. We don't have, we cut the cushion this year.
Yeah, that's scary.
So that could be a good chunk of where that 500,000 came from that we think we gained. So, but I don't think we're any worse than last year, but it's probably real close. You think that's accurate? No? You're pretty quiet.
I think we're doing the best.
I think we, yeah, to your point, we're not as conservative. So I think this year we did slightly better than last year, but not as much because we got some of the cushions that squirreled away.
I mean, we could, and in all honesty, we could go farther with this 1.2 whatever and budget tighter like we've been doing on things and pad a little here for revenue or pad a little there. But if we're not willing to cut something, I mean, literally cut something, we're just washing it from one to another instead of it coming back to general fund at the end of the year or the possibility of it. We're just going to make sure we just budget it in tighter. Am I wrong? Am I thinking the right way? I mean,
I think this is an improvement on last year, and I think these monthly budget reports are making people more aware of where they stand. I still think there's some big gaps that have to be addressed, but it's not like 12/31 all of a sudden, oh, well, we didn't know about this. We're aware of stuff now.
I do think, I know that you mentioned that, the not attritioning in personnel. Every time somebody comes, they're saying all these positions are absolutely necessary. And I know sometimes you get a little crap about not trusting employees if you don't question, but we're never going to make up that gap you know, no matter what, when people come, they're gonna say, we need everything. If I go to, you know, my boss, I'm not gonna ask him to cut my budget, but my boss might cut something in my department because, you know, it doesn't mean he doesn't trust me. It just means that he's got a budget to balance. I think that's 100% understandable that, yeah, everybody's gonna come and say, well, if you don't listen, you don't trust us, but the reality is we have our jobs and our job is to trust, but we also sometimes gotta ask the hard questions.
No, you're right. And we're gonna have to figure out, I mean, we're at that point now where we need to figure out where we're going to tighten up. And forestry may not be our cash cow like it's been in the past either anymore.
And yes, those carbon credits come out of the thin air that we've been
Yeah.
hoping for. I wouldn't expect any big increases
Right.
coming out of there. And if anything, I mean, and yes, now there is that, in Hayward, if they start making that aviation fuel, you know, in the future, once that was up and running, but that's not tomorrow or next year, the year after, that's, you know, a couple years down the road before that would be start affecting us, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, $1 million on a $30 million budget is a really big gap. And if we're gonna, it's gonna take a few things. It's gonna be, you know, not just cutting heads. It's gonna be cutting heads, raising things, and then exploring other ways to generate revenue. You know, or get rid of whole services that aren't profitable.
Well, we're not going to solve the budget structural deficit tonight, so what more do we want to accomplish?
I thought you were gonna have some suggestions here.
I do, but you two are shooting them down left and right. Jeremy's supporting me.
Which,
For fixing, what was your suggestion for fixing the structural deficit?
It wasn't fixing the structural deficit.
So you're
it was
talking about-
changing the budget.
So you're talking about adding to the structural deficit.
Yes.
That seems kind of counterproductive.
I'm sorry, Terry, I saw you drag it. I saw him dragging you right to the line with that one.
I think he knew what I was doing there, and
Yeah,
he was just playing along for fun today.
Yeah, he's doing, yeah.
Okay,
so let-
to justify that. Oh, go ahead.
So let's talk, yeah, you're all muffled yet, Jeremy, sorry. So let's talk about your thing. It's not on the budget, but, or it's not on the agenda, but it's in the budget. So if we were to do what you perceive that you need at animal control, we're gonna treat you like a department head now. Hey, we know you think you need this, but now we're gonna ask the hard questions as to why you really need it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 part-time out there already, correct?
Yes, and the amount is listed in here.
So if you were to have another,
Expenditures.
you asked for a full, I heard you say earlier today, a half-time. I thought you originally wanted a full-time.
Well, it's a half-time position, making it full-time. It's not adding a new position, it's just making a part-time position full-time.
Okay,
It's not adding a brand-new position, it's just making a part-time position full-time.
okay. So if we put another full-time out there, then how many half-times can we get rid of?
Can't get rid of any. Because there's only 2 part-time people left.
See, you sound like everybody else now.
Same number of bodies, one's just full-time versus part-time. Because the part-time people are limited in how many hours they can work.
If you can get it done for the same amount of dollars,
Or is there revenue that can be?
Or can you bring in
That's
revenue?
out of the same place that you're taking the city deficit out of. 60,000 plus that should have been paid out of the general fund.
No, I'm saying, is there other fees and things that can be?
We've already raised them. The only fees we have are dog licenses, really.
Can we charge for
And
cats?
They've raised the adoption fees, they've raised.
Dawn was kind of talking about municipalities and the city, when you have those dogs, could those sources be charged?
Flammable, stuff like that.
I think you would be, yeah, but again, all of this stuff goes back to shared joint buildings, joint stuff. And until things are split between the city and the county, this is already holding up some of the stuff out there until something is decided.
Yeah, because we still gotta determine what to do with the building yet, right? Because it's still a joint building, right? Even though they backed out of the operations.
They're still paying their portion of the debt and everything like that. But I mean, the ideal thing is, and I've said this for years, it should be, the county should be out of it, should be a nonprofit organization that runs the whole thing. The county could make some contributions to it, whatever, but it should be a separate, independent, 501c3 or nonprofit corporation that runs it.
So how does that happen?
You got to find funding sources for all of that. We don't have very many corporations around here or stuff that don't have big paper mill, multi-million-dollar foundations that can contribute for
Is
stuff.
that what some of these other counties get, is some large company to help fund that?
Set it up and going, yeah. And then you do fundraising and you do all of that stuff too. But I mean, you've got to have a solid basis behind all of that.
Well, and I want to see why the county won't kick in. We're already paying. If a foundation came along and we're like, okay, we'll pitch in, $100,000 or whatever, I can't see why the county won't.
So I know it was mentioned, I think Jeremy had mentioned something about a new new position, some economic development position or something. Is that a new position? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a new,
Where?
but that's not coming out of levy, that's coming out of.
No. Are they someone that could help facilitate?
Maybe, because they're looking for economic development, really not setting up another corporation to run stuff. They're looking more like for new businesses and new jobs and new services and that type of thing.
Although the
But
job
they
description
could-
does say other duties as assigned, so once they start, because this won't be till January when the new position starts, if they were in contact with organizations, it's not like they couldn't help.
Right, no, yeah, they could, but I think their main thing is going to be getting new jobs and services in, business.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
A taxable thing, because this would be, again, a non-tax thing, so you wouldn't get taxes on it. And maybe the new finance director might have some ideas too. I mean, that's one of the things that they're looking at for replacing Indian Head or Connections Food Pantry, and that's, setting up another 501c3 and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and we know how much it costs and da-da-da, and you file with state, it could take up to 6 months to get and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it would be best to go through like a church or somebody that's already exempt and do that. And again, but if they're going to have to pay, which will be probably brought up at the board meeting, they have to pay any monthly rent or anything that shoots it right from the get-go. Because the food, we already know from our perspective, costs of food are going up. Feed my people, it's getting harder and harder to get food from them and everything. And they did have the first pop-up pantries here, but we're getting way off budget here.
So how much money do you need to take a part-time and turn it to full-time?
I think it's had in here, the additional cost would be roughly 52,000. We would have to plop it in the thing, but that includes insurance at a family rate. And I think, if it's a single, that probably knocks another 13,000 or something off of that amount.
Okay, so looking at this budget here, 281, am I up? So we've got, so what's in the, so that's the 52?
Let me get.
So why is there only 11,000 or whatever, 13,000?
I think,
Difference.
went up from 40 to 52, is it already added in there?
No.
Oh, that's a committee request.
That got turned down. Let me,
So your request for the extra full-time person is not built in there
right.
as your request?
Right. It got knocked out.
You got knocked out at your committee?
No, it got knocked out here.
So it looks like there was just an additional 12,000 to make the,
That was trying to hire another part-time person, but you aren't going to get, I mean, when we look back on that, you're not going to get a part-time person. Part-time person is making 11 some dollars an hour. You're not going to find anybody. We can't, if one of our part-time people leave now, we probably won't be able to replace them. Nobody's doing it for 13 some dollars an
but the
hour.
budget that was presented was only for that 12.
That was hiring another part-time person at 11. But then after we did that, we thought, well, no, we're never going to get, I mean, we were lucky we got the part-time people that we have now.
I thought the hourly rate was adjusted for, I mean, what is the hourly rate out there now? Because I thought that was adjusted a long time ago for the part-time.
Well, it's 13 something,
Okay.
but the lowest one is, I think,
The 1138.
yeah,
I didn't know we had that in there yet.
and that would be the lowest.
So when I was on that committee, I believe there was only one part-time person in the full-time. Now we went from full-time, I could be wrong.
Wasn't there a
But I
lot
thought it
more?
was one part-time, one full-time, and then volunteers, and now we're up to 3 part-time. So why can't we use volunteers anymore? Is there for some liability reason or?
Okay, I think you're misunderstanding volunteers. Volunteers can help with maybe socialization with a dog or something. You cannot count on them to, they cannot be counted on to like be there to clean and feed the people because they come, they go, they don't show up. They like it for a week or two. Oh, well, it's fun to pet the kittens and play with the kittens. Then they don't show up again and all that. We do have volunteers that do come on a regular basis and do it. They help with the laundry and they do help with some, but you cannot count on the essential duties to volunteers. I mean, I think that's a standard thing that you would find for any volunteer organization. If it's a thing that's a necessity, you don't have volunteers doing it because they're wishy-washy, if you want to put it that way. So for cleaning, feeding, they can help, but you can't count on them to do that. That's why you need somebody else to do it. And then remember, she's also the main officer, and that takes a lot of time to write citations and go through all that. We've been through all this before.
So that's revenue?
And she,
No,
hold on, let's talk about that a little bit. Because I thought I heard her say in the meeting she doesn't have time to go investigate and do all the citation work that she needs to do because she doesn't have that full-time head.
right. For revenue, you can see the revenue is the receipts there, line 46. That is when they adopt someone, there's like $200 per dog or whatever. It's that's what when they adopt animals, and that goes in there. They do have donations, the line 48. That's something we just started new, but that's when people say, we want this donation to go to operations. Most of it goes into the spay and neuter fund is the biggest one. And then there's, well, chipping revenue. Well, we just started chipping revenue. I mean, that's nothing. And then this doggy tax. That is the tax from the dog licenses. And we upped it a teeny bit because this year we should be getting the dog licenses or tax from the city. Before we didn't.
It wasn't a whole lot here.
No, it's not a whole lot.
So then when she does write citations, where does that revenue go? Does that go to?
I think that goes to.
I mean the clerk of court?
Yeah, it goes to court. We don't get any of that.
Why doesn't that come back to your department? If you're writing the.
I don't know. Because she can write some citations and then the sheriff's office writes citations too and everything. But we get no revenue from that.
Well, I mean, if the sheriff's office writes a ticket for speeding, does that just all go to clerk of courts or does a share of that come back to the sheriff's office?
I don't know.
You're on emergency services too, right? Oh, I'm just asking.
Yes, I don't know.
Maybe look into that. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm being serious. Where does some of that revenue go?
From fines and tickets.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna be smart. I think we should look at a paw tax. He's almost smiling. He doesn't want to give it. He's smiling, but he's gonna hold it. That was my funny for the day too.
Hey,
What?
I do have a dog tag, so we don't have a dog license, or we do not have a dog license.
Okay, something about dog license, dog tax, but we couldn't make it all.
We don't have a cat license.
Oh, so we can make
The city has a cat license. We get nothing of that. We don't do them. And that was one thing we were attacked and everything because an animal control officer should enforce all the ordinances. And I said, no, we are not doing cat licenses in the city because then someone would have a guinea pig in the town of Wilson or something. We are not licensing and doing.
Do you receive the city's cat license?
No, nothing. It's all city.
Okay, then
The city ordinance.
somebody's gonna think I'm a jerk, but I'm just gonna be honest. Then why are we collecting cats for them?
We don't get anything from the city license for cats. We only get the dog tax because that's a countywide ordinance. The city is.
The thing with the cat thing, I don't know how
That's
you'd
the
ever
city.
enforce it.
Well, they don't.
Even if you did it for the
now.
county, I don't know how you'd ever enforce it.
No,
I don't think you should need to have a license to have a cat either.
that's the city
You
ordinance.
have
That's not our ordinance.
I only have one. I mean, it won't be.
$50. I think cats should be way more than
I'll
dogs.
give you my cat. I don't even care. I'll just get rid of it. It's purely for.
That'll take care of the
mice.
whole cat problem in the county. Those cats will be gone, man. Everybody will be ruminating those things.
No, the city has an ordinance that cats are supposed to be licensed and they don't enforce it and don't do anything with it. But we're not having anything to do with that.
Can you go to a dog-only shelter? Do you have to collect cats?
Well, it's an animal
Would that
shelter.
eliminate some work?
Shelter.
It's an animal, yeah, it's an animal shelter.
It's not just.
Change the name,
Cats, it's
shelter.
horses and, it's collected horses even.
We've had ponies out there. I mean, we've had a whole bunch of different critters. But no, because I mean, it's mostly cats. Because we're limited in what we can get for dog cages. I mean, we're already at maxed out.
Well, in all reality, Terry, I get what you're saying. I do. Because like I said, I was on that committee, and it sucks. But it's one of those deals where I'm going to assume something here and I'm probably getting in trouble, and I don't want to pick out one department anywhere in the county. But my guess would be that if a certain department is overworked, that some people in the county may deem it a very important service, especially if it's one they need. There's probably at times that the ball gets dropped because maybe we don't have enough people there. I don't know how you're going to how the county can be expected to, I mean, like take HHS, for example. Some of that stuff we have to provide is mandatory. I mean, it's statute. We have no choice. This is one that's not statute for the county, it's statute for the municipalities. I don't have an answer for your problem, but I don't know how you can solve every one of them when we're mandated to do certain things for citizens of the county, but we can't necessarily always provide the same service for animals. It sucks. Especially someone that, I mean, I raise animals, so, I mean, I do care about them, but I also know there's also that line where you can't always provide the same service. I don't have an answer for you, but yeah. I get what you're trying to do. I don't know how we can add to the budget for it.
How much does it take out of extra help to put up in the other line?
No, well,
It would-
no, well,
it would-
all you're doing is flipping from one line to the other. So in total here, it would simply add roughly 52,000, but that would assume family coverage insurance, which I believe is roughly 13,000 if you go down to the bottom.
So you need to buy, okay,
Yeah, it's, well, 17 for family. So, well, okay, I was saying 13. I was 17 last year too, okay.
you need to show up at the next city council meeting with a case of beer and see if you can get that $60,000 back after the meeting. Bring out the case of beer.
We've been there, done that.
So I think your original, I mean, you said that, you know, maybe someday making that into a private run by a charitable organization. I think that's gonna be your answer.
That's
And in
it.
all honesty,
No.
yeah, let's be honest. All bullshit aside, if that ends up as a private run entity, which
That'll get done cheaper.
it'll get done cheaper because they're not gonna have to probably follow some of the rules that maybe we do, I'm not sure. But, okay, then what are people gonna do when they don't get their service? Right now, they just blame the county because we own it. I mean, right?
Basically.
So when someone's unhappy with the service, it's automatically the county's fault. You should do this, you should do that. Well, I guess if they want to keep pushing the envelope, we don't have to be in the ownership of this. And it's nice to provide a service, but we can only do so much.
Well, I think you're wrong on one point. Municipalities do have to provide, the city does have to provide animal shelter. Municipalities do. And so then you're going to push that back on all the townships and all the other things. So you're going to be raising
A lot more money.
Okay, for example,
more cane.
I don't know if they still do it, but I remember we made a contract a couple times with the town of Ruby, Chippewa County.
Yeah.
Does that still happen?
I believe so, but I don't know if anything happens with that.
No, they had to bring the animal in. If I recall the rules on that
It was-
contract.
I know what you're talking about.
And they got all the expenses passed on to them. Maybe you're gonna end up to that point for certain things. It's gonna be their responsibility to bring the animal in, and you'll house it, and they're gonna get billed for certain things. You might come to that point.
It's not housing. It's not.
Or let's just, maybe another option is City of Ladysmith has to provide a service. We don't. Maybe we just give it back to the City of Ladysmith and let them be in charge of, they've got a place then for all of their animals.
It's been talked about.
But then the town of Grant needs one, the town of Flambeau needs
Well,
one.
then they can have a contract with the City of Ladysmith to take care of their animals.
Or Flambeau and Grant could get together and fund this.
He's trying to poke now, but I was trying to be serious. I knew this was gonna jump off the tracks when we were done.
I think we're kind of off the tracks. Like I say, the ideal situation would be to get a private foundation or have a public foundation, 501c3, let's call it that way. Run it and do it. And we're one of the few counties that have a county-run animal shelter.
And I knew, I may make fun of you, but I do appreciate what they do, but it's like, in the situation we're at, from a county standpoint, how do we keep putting money at this? And I think deep down you understand that, but I honor your commitment for coming here and having to put up with our nonsense. And
Can't you raise your licensing a little bit more?
We have raised the license.
I
Like I
know.
say, we've raised the revenue, we've raised the dog licenses, we've raised the adoption fees. I mean, there is a limit to
Paying, yeah.
what people can afford and pay and everything. And there's quite a good group of volunteers and everything, I mean, that support the animal shelter and stuff like that.
No, I know you do.
And I know you two represent municipalities, but like when I'm hearing that it's the municipalities that have to provide that service,
Or
I don't
contract.
understand why
We
they
got
don't have to pay anything to help contribute to
Well,
it.
we are.
They do, through the property tax, through this. This is the levy.
This is.
Everybody gets it.
It's a,
Yeah, but when the city stopped putting in, there was talk about, we thought we were gonna get that levy money back from the city, and we didn't get the,
City wouldn't agree. It had to be
Yeah.
a mutual thing.
so I say we just give it to the city and to the towns. You know, if nobody wants to voluntarily pitch in for it, then I say we just give it to them. We're not required. And yes, you find your private entity to run that, that's probably the smoother option.
if you have a private entity and the private entity actually bills townships, Terry, you know, that is another possibility, but don't we still have to have a humane officer in the county? I'm just asking that question.
Well, I don't think we had a humane officer before, really. I mean, or that wasn't active, should we say. Dawn's the one that's been going out and taking care of and doing all these things. She's taken care of a lot of problems that have been festering for years and years and years, and cleaned up a lot of stuff.
But now you know why they were festering for years and years and years. I mean, let's be honest. Karen could only do so much, the previous. I don't want to, I shouldn't have. She did what she could do. I remember a lot of this stuff coming up the term I was on there. And it was just only so many hours in a day.
And that's where Dawn is now, because she can't, she doesn't have the help.
Okay, all right. I at least wanted to give you the respect of discussing it, even though it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. So,
Wait, that's it? We don't vote?
what?
Don't we get to vote on whether or not to put it in?
What do you want to put in?
The full-time head, convert the full-time, part-time head to a full-time head.
Let's see, what's the agenda say?
It's not, well,
Well,
No, is that a bad idea?
we're reviewing and discussing departmental budgets
including adjustments.
and adjustments, so if you want to make a motion, you have that prerogative. Otherwise, I'm gonna move on if I don't hear one.
Terry?
Yes.
Put in my mouth?
What?
Did he put his, something about foot and mouth, but I don't know who put theirs where.
You can make a motion and I'll second it.
Can't tell
You
somebody.
can't coach him. Timothy, Chris,
Okay. No, you coach me.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Why don't you just make the motion if you're, I already said that you'd make it.
Okay,
I make the motion to, amend the budget to put the full-time head for the animal control in, instead of the part-time head that's there, or convert it. One of the three part-time heads.
to make one part-time employee full-time.
To include,
Yeah.
Is that the motion to replace one part-time with a full-time with an increase to the budget of 52,000? Is that the motion you're trying to make? I'm just trying to help speed things along.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Okay. A motion on the floor for Mr. Vincent. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second for Mr. Wedwick. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to request a roll call on this. And
Okay.
I'd also like to comment, since we're discussing that, when somebody makes a motion and you repeat the motion back, is this the motion? And they say, unfortunately, yes. It's probably not a good motion.
It's progress for the budget, but understanding that it's for operational, purposes and it needs to happen, probably, in my opinion.
Any
And,
more? Further discussion?
well, the only thing is, this proposal has been passed by the county board, has been passed by finance, it's been passed by personnel, it's been passed by everybody and was approved. It'll have to start all over again. There is a job description.
No. Hold on, Mr. Wedwick. I have to correct you here. It was passed by county board per the city of Ladysmith funding their share of the position.
And the chair of the Animal Control Committee told us that it doesn't matter, the city will pay it, it's not their choice. And the next thing, the city took away $60,000 from us after the chair of that committee came in and tried to bully.
That was,
Motion on the floor.
Yes, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Request a roll.
And a roll call vote has been requested, so clerk, please, take the vote, please.
Mr. Wedwick,
Yes,
Mr. Undershoot,
No.
Mr. Meyer, no, you gotta be last. Mr. Freeman,
No.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
and Mr. Meyer.
No.
Failed.
Motion failed. All right. Any more discussion, any budgetary matters? Hearing none. The next thing we had listed on here was to review the 2026 budgets for the county board. All right, do we feel we're ready to make that motion now, or would we, my thought was to wait until the next scheduled finance meeting? Just in case something came up.
The proper time, I mean, we.
Which is next Thursday, is that correct?
Yeah. That'll be the last day that we kind of have to, we're gonna have to give Tanya and them,
Is that enough time, Tanya?
Well, and you can have her.
It's gotta be in, hang on here, let me look, because I know that's,
Have everything ready. I don't expect that anything will change. That just gives us an opportunity in case along the way somebody's like,
you'll have the time.
yeah.
So if you get it in, if you have it ready, you can get it in by Monday, then it should be posted that week and the following week, or the next 2 weeks to the 7th, and then the following week is, that should be enough. It's 2 weeks, right, Terry?
well, the county
in
board.
a sense,
meeting-
3, because you need that week to get it to the paper. But
The next county board meeting is on the 28th,
No,
so the one in November is on the 25th.
no.
no, we have to have a special budget meeting around, it was originally scheduled for
Oh,
the
you're talking about the
12th.
special budget, not the regular county board meeting.
I think that is, I don't know. I thought that was the only one we had for November.
So what date are you picking for the special budget?
Well, we'll discuss that at the October meeting, because the,
Oh, the October board meeting?
yeah, because Chairman Undershoot's and I need to discuss all, yeah, and
Yeah, because wasn't the date
it's November 11th, and we cannot have it on that day.
one?
So it's either that Monday and we need to get that, that's the other thing.
If we bring it up at the board, then the board can kind of give, we can give a couple ideas of, and they can say what.
Wait a minute, I don't know that we can wait that long.
I think you have to have
Running
it
out of
posted.
time.
You have to have it posted in the
We
paper.
have to, you and I are gonna have to change that.
You gotta figure it out and post it.
Okay. Let's talk to
Let's talk on Monday. Is it okay?
That works for me.
Okay.
Come up with some suggestions.
Well, it's either on Monday or Wednesday. And that's what they're gonna have to put in. Because we can't have it on that Tuesday. And I'll look up the state statute as well.
Which should be the, what dates? The
The 10th. So we could have it on the 10th
10th or the 12th?
or the 12th, yes.
That's a day meeting.
We started at 9.
Why do we do that during the day?
Because it's a budget meeting. It could, in the past, it has taken some time.
Okay, so here's my thought though. A lot of people are working and it gives them more chance to go to the budget meeting and give their input if you did it in the afternoon.
It's always
Maybe earlier than 6 or something, you know. Just a thought. Is there some reason we have to?
I think the foresight on it is, it has to be done sometime during that day.
So if there's,
Approved.
so the problem is if it took a while,
You might recess till the afternoon or something. Okay, yeah, I guess I see. So
that's the, the thought, so.
So what day are we talking about now?
So
Or the county budget meeting, or
So you could do the 10th, like at 9 o'clock in the morning?
What, are you talking about November now?
Yes.
so now if you do the 10th,
why don't we do the 12th?
okay, does that give enough time? Does that,
Wednesday.
keep in mind how long it has to be posted in the paper. It's 2 weeks, right?
No, yeah, it will be.
And that gives Tanya enough time to
She can put it together.
approve it next Thursday. That gives her that next week to get it in, and et cetera.
She can have it put together, because like Phil said, he doesn't think much is gonna change.
No, I don't either.
So you just.
I think it's pretty much, my only concern would be the making sure that LCDD is correct with where grant money was going to offset zoning tech and that kind of thing. But there will be a personnel meeting before the budget meeting. If anything needs to be addressed there with that position. I just want to make sure that grant money, my understanding was some of that grant money that was coming in that used to offset 50% of that administrative assistant position was going to get moved over to help offset other positions. So it wasn't like we were losing that money. It was just going to get divvied up, and part of it to go to zoning tech. So that should offset.
Budget?
Huh?
Was he bringing back a new budget?
I think it's in here already. I just want
Clarification?
clarification. So maybe bring that up with guys.
He just wanted kept it,
If you would.
he wanted it kept open, he just didn't want to fill it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a request to fill.
Yeah, that's how it was kind of left, to leave it open in case they could fall back on
It
it.
can't be filled though until he brings it back to personnel anyway.
Well, and that was the consensus we came to. It's got to come back to personnel before the job can be posted, but again, I think something may need to be put in the form of a motion more than just taking the money away from the budget, but I don't know. Anyhow, all right. So everybody's good with that? We'll worry about passing the budget next Thursday? Okay, so budget review meeting dates. So we originally had one scheduled as a backup for next Monday. I don't see a need for that. Is anybody here? We just do next Thursday, our normal finance meeting
At 3.
at 3? Good with that, Jeremy?
Yes, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right, so that's our next meeting. We're gonna cancel the one Monday. There was also a scheduling conflict with that anyhow. Somebody else was in this room, so, so I'll be back here on Thursday, the 16th at 3 o'clock. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Mr. Freeman, is there a second?
Second.
Motion from Mr. Unterschutz. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. 5:20.
The ad hoc construction committee meeting here on Monday. Well,
It is, we're just waiting for that,
no.